The last video I did was a satirical video which was trying to illustrate the difference between how Mueller's approaching his investigation into Trump-Russia collusion versus how Comey and the FBI approached their investigation into Hillary Clinton with the server and the problems she had with that. Now, it was a satirical video, but from talking to people, I don't think they got the satire, which shows that I'm an idiot for even trying to do it. Apparently, I'm not very good at things like that. So I wanted to make this video, which I think is one of the most important videos I've ever done. Now, let me say it just at the beginning, before you think I take myself too seriously. This is actually the second time I'm doing this video because my microphone was set beside me and my dog was snoring into it the whole time, so I have to redo the video. So here's the general thought. What I was saying in the satirical video is, look, the Democrats told us that the FBI is great and we can't criticize them or that's anti-American. That's what their media mouthpieces have said also. And they did this investigation into Hillary. And so why then, clearly the FBI is great, so why would Mueller's investigation deviate from the protocol that was set forth by Comey and the FBI and his investigation of Hillary? And it was kind of my tongue-in-cheek way of saying the following, which I think was lost on people. I'm saying that, yes, I understand the Mueller investigation is a witch hunt, which I'll get to in a minute. But what I'm saying, the purpose of that video isn't really referencing the Mueller investigation. It's showing that people's reaction to the Mueller investigation proves that they know that the Hillary Clinton investigation was corrupt and a scam. Period. Here's how I know that. Now, first, let me say that with the Mueller investigation, the reason I say it's a witch hunt is the reason for the Mueller investigation was supposedly to keep us safe from Russia, to find out what their interference was, and to investigate any crimes that Trump may have had or his team had in connection with these Russians and their illegalities with the 2016 election. However, it seems that Mueller's only interested in investigating Trump people connected to Russia and not Democratic people connected to Russia, which is why some of the very same Russians that are labeled that, like, for example, Manafort talked to, was also talking to people in Hillary's campaign, or the people that Trump Jr. met at the tower were actually hired the same law firm, Future GPS, that Hillary's law firm, Perkins Coie, hired. So if Mueller was serious about getting to the bottom of all Russian influence, then he would be looking into all of this. But instead, he's only looking at Trump's side. And in fact, he doesn't seem to be doing much at all with Russians. He's instead looking at crimes that occurred years back, like financial crimes, and well before the 2016 election in the first place. So I do believe that the Mueller investigation is just a witch hunt. The fact that he's only charging one side, letting people... That, the biggest example you need is there were FARA violations, which means failure to register as a foreign lobbyist, that he charged Paul Manafort with. In his indictment, he says that Manafort was working with other groups, such as the Podesta Group, which is connected to Hillary. Yet instead of charging the Podesta Group with that crime, they allowed the Podesta Group to retroactively file paperwork. So one side, the Hillary-connected side, the establishment side, hey, you committed a crime. Can you just fill out this piece of paper and it'll all be all right? Sure. The other one, oh, you're going to jail for that if you're connected to Trump. That's why I think it's a witch hunt. But now let me get back to what's going on. Having said that it's a witch hunt, the generic strategy that Mueller's using is one that's common in law enforcement and investigative tools, which makes sense. And that is, you're trying to investigate some high-level crime. So let's say a bank robbery, a murder, something like that. And so you find people that might have knowledge of that crime, whether they've been involved or they just know of it. And you want to put pressure on them. The easiest way to put pressure on them is to find other crimes you can prove that they did. So maybe in the case of a murder, you find someone that you know you got on low-level drug crimes, and you say, look, you're looking at 5 years if we charge you with this drug crime, but if you could help us by cooperating and giving us information about the crime that we're really after, which would be the murder charge, then we'll let you off on the drug crime. This is what happens all the time with law enforcement investigative agencies. That makes sense. And we know that makes sense because we see the reaction of people in the media and just people I've dealt with, of people that dislike Trump, to the Flynn documents that were released yesterday. So what was in the Flynn documents was Flynn pled guilty to lying to the FBI, which that's a whole other story, but okay, fine, he pled guilty. And Mueller recommends no jail time. And the reason is, one, he was a distinguished service member of the military, but second is that he was very cooperative. He sat down with over 19 interviews with them and was involved in one case that's totally redacted, another case that's criminal, and the other case that with the Russia investigation that we're looking into. And so you see all the people that dislike Trump salivating. Oh, this shows that Trump might be in trouble because Mueller was so wise. He knew that if he went after Flynn, Flynn was in a lot of trouble, was looking at jail time. So he had no choice but to cooperate. And now we got Manafort, and we got Cohen, and we have Papadopoulos, and these people knew they didn't want to go to jail, so they knew they had to cooperate, which means that they're likely to flip some kind of dirt on Trump. These are these people admitting implicitly that they understand that this strategy of you go after people for crimes, you charge them with those crimes, you threaten them with jail time, and then you see if they'll cooperate. That's an effective strategy. And they're happy because it's being targeted at Trump and people connected to Trump, so they think that's a great thing. Yet these same people have no problem with how the FBI investigation into Hillary went down. That investigation took the exact opposite tack, which is what I was getting to in my satirical video that I did before. Their tack was they knew that they interviewed people, they knew that they had lied to the FBI, which is a crime that's being charged by Mueller with the Trump people. That's what Flynn's being charged with. That's what Papadopoulos was charged with. Cohen's being charged with lying to Congress, which is very similar, but basically lying to people that are investigating. Mueller knows, yes, if I charge those crimes and then offer to basically lighten the penalties for those crimes, people may cooperate. Instead, what the FBI did is, under Comey, they knew that they had people for lying to the FBI. For example, we know without a doubt that Mills and Abedin lied to the FBI. They told Peter Strzok when they were interviewed that they had no knowledge of Hillary's server until after she was left her tenure as Secretary of State. However, released emails from them show that they were emailing as early as 2009, well before Hillary was Secretary of State, or before she left her term as Secretary of State, talking about potential problems with the server, asking questions about the server, and not just one time, they asked this several times. So we know they lied to the FBI, period, proven. Everyone knows this, this is proven. Yet for some reason, instead of charging them, the FBI took the opposite tactic and went to them and said, we will give you all immunity, we'll take all of your devices that might include incriminating evidence, we'll smash them for you. Now, do you have anything you'd like to say? Now think of how this works. Let's look at Flynn, for example. Flynn probably likes Donald Trump and likes the people who was in his campaign. They, seeing as how he's a member of the campaign, was going to be an incoming member of the cabinet, they probably had similar ideological goals, policy prescriptions, and were on the same page with most of the people in the campaign. So he'd have no reason, even if a crime was committed, rather other than it just be out of pure justice, to turn on the people that was in his campaign. And if he was likely to turn on people because there was a crime out of pure justice, then why would he have to be, why the investigation in the first place? He would have just came forward. So it was clearly that because he didn't come forward and say there was a crime, that either there was no crime or that he wasn't going to do it just out of pure virtuous, he's not going to talk about it just out of the pure virtuous nature of his heart. So if if Mueller would have went to Flynn and said, hey man, you got immunity from any crime you may have committed, we're not going to charge you with anything, have anything you'd like to say about potential crimes anyone else in the Trump campaign committed? He's going to be like, no, I'm good, I'm just going to walk out. Take it easy. Which makes total sense. There's no pressure on him whatsoever. So why would he want to rat out people that he's presumably close to for no reason? Yet that's the exact tack that was taken with Hillary's team. Her people close to her, Mills and Abedin, that we know lied, instead of charging them and saying, you're going to spend 5 years in jail for lying to the FBI. Now, are you going to help us with the other crimes that took place that we're really looking into? Instead, they said, hey, don't worry, we got immunity. We'll smash your devices. We'll make sure that not only that you're not criminally charged, but we'll do our best to make sure by smashing your devices that there's not even political fallout, because we don't want people to see the documents that could be damaging to you. Do you really think that they're going to be like, sure, let's, and by the way, let me discuss some of the crimes that took place by Hillary Clinton or other people in her administration or campaign? Of course, they're not going to say that. So Mueller, what he's doing, even though satirically in the video I made before, I'm like, what is Mueller doing? The point was, yeah, Mueller's doing what you would expect any normal investigator to do. Now, is it beyond his mandate? Is he seeking crimes that don't even exist? Maybe, but that's another question. The generic strategy of getting people on lesser crimes and then trying to get them to flip on greater crimes absolutely makes sense. And everybody knows it, including the anti-Trump people, which is why they're out there celebrating today, saying, yes, see, maybe Trump will finally go down. Flynn was cooperating for that long. Oh boy, that's bad news. Oh, Cohen's cooperating. That's bad news for Trump. Because they know that strategy is an effective strategy. Now again, let me take this moment to say, if Trump committed crimes, specifically serious crimes involving collusion with the Russians to help steal the election, he should be held criminally accountable. He should be impeached. All of that. He should be accountable for crimes he committed. But that does not justify ignoring the corruption that the FBI had in the Hillary Clinton investigation and the double standard by the investigative and intelligence agencies on how they treat people connected to the establishment and Hillary versus how they treat people connected to Trump. Over and over and over we see it. Papadopoulos and Flynn supposedly lied to the FBI. That's worth charging. Mills and Abedin lied to the FBI. No charges necessary. You have Cohen supposedly lied to Congress. That's worth charging. Brennan, Comey, Clapper that we know have lied to Congress in addition to who knows how many other people. Nope, we don't charge that. We have Manafort who failed to register as a foreign lobbyist. He gets charged with that crime. Who was he working with? Well, he was working with the Podesta Group, as Mueller says in his own indictment. So the Podesta Group, they don't get charged with it. Instead, they just have to file paperwork retroactively. The FBI goes into the investigation into Hillary saying, how can we keep them out of criminal trouble? Let's give people immunity. Let's start with the exact opposite tack we normally would. Instead of charging lower crimes and then trying to get people to flip, we'll offer everyone immunity and see if they just voluntarily have anything to say. Versus how they go into the Trump investigation into people on his side where they say, we will go back even 10 years. We'll raid offices in the middle of the night. We'll charge people with crimes that have nothing to do with the original intent in the investigation, all in hopes of getting them to flip. In fact, the judge in the Manafort case originally said, I know you're not after Manafort. He's just a small fish that you're trying to dangle out there to get something bigger on Trump. So we know the tactics have been the exact opposite. And the Democrats and their media mouthpieces and just other people that dislike Trump are more than happy to cheer for these tactics when they're aimed at Trump. But when the exact opposite tactics and the soft hand was applied to Hillary's case, they're okay with that too. Not only are they okay with that, they tell you, just listen to what the media said, to even criticize the FBI is hurting America. It's anti-American. So these are journalists. Their entire job is to look into investigations like this, try to find double standards and things, see what the biases were. But instead, not only are they not doing the work, they're letting it up to fat guys like me sitting on a couch that work 60 hours a week, that have a YouTube channel with like 20 people that will watch. For some reason, I'm more interested in this investigation and discussing it than what they are. Not only are they not looking at it, they're telling people like me, oh, and you're un-American. You're hurting the country by even looking into this. Does that sound like real journalism to you? It's unbelievably frustrating. And the most frustrating part is there are reasonable people that I'm friends with that hate Trump. Look, there's tons of reasonable reasons to dislike Trump or to be Democrat or be progressive. I think you're wrong. I think socialism's bad. But I have friends that are socialists, and they're not dumb people. They're logical people. I think they're great people. Yet even most of them nary a peep on this double standard, on the corruption of the investigative agencies such as the FBI. Because it's aimed at someone they hate, so they think it's okay. And I keep telling, all I can say is, if Trump ever seeks to do this, or if someone on the right ever seeks to do this to someone on the left, I'll be right there with my friends on the left saying, no, this is corrupt again. These same people that don't have a problem, imagine the media, the 24/7 coverage, the screens of Trump being a Nazi and a dictator and an authoritarianism. If his FBI, he was using opposition research to investigate people that were going to be his opponent in 2020, and his FBI was charging them with crimes that we then know the FBI is letting people in the Trump campaign get away with those very same crimes. Imagine it. Imagine they're raiding lawyers' offices in the middle of the night of people connected to Cory Booker or Kamala Harris or Beto O'Rourke, whoever runs against Trump. Imagine the screaming. This is the most corrupt thing ever. The FBI is no longer a serious independent agency. It's merely a tool of Trump. It's corrupt. They have double standards. This can't stand. Our democracy is finished. But when it's the other hand, not only are they not saying that stuff, they're saying, oh, and if you even look at it and have any problem with this, then you're hurting America. It is, and I know I seem angry and passionate about it. I assure you, my everyday life's going fine. I'm a happy person. But this kind of just jolts me because this is the biggest political scandal in my lifetime. And I can't believe that it seems that no one seems to care. Now, look, there are a lot of people. Two reasons I do this channel is, one is to show people that I can disagree with. I want to have more people on that I disagree with. To have dialogues that you can do it in a friendly way. And to try to reach out to those people and say, because I understand we need to come together in some way. So I would say, hey, here's why I support Trump, or here's why I think X. And even if you don't support Trump, here's why I think my opinion has some kind of validation. So that's what I'm saying, that if Trump would ever do this, I would be right there with my friends on the left protesting it. But the other reason is because I think that I live in rural Pennsylvania. There's a lot of people that don't have the time or the equipment or just the means to be able to look at the news like I do. Or maybe they have worthwhile things to do, unlike me. I think that if the average person knew how insane and corrupt this double standard is, they would be appalled. Well, where do they get their news? They watch the nightly news that never talks about it, or maybe they click on CNN or MSNBC for a couple minutes and read their newspaper. It's never in there. Maybe they watch late night comedy shows that are all left wing. They aren't talking about this whatsoever. So they have no clue. They gave everyone immunity in the Hillary situation. There were even the FBI subpoenaed records, which you would expect. That's something Mueller would probably be doing, right? Let's look at this. Let's say Mueller subpoenaed records. He talks to Flynn. He has Flynn cooperate with him. Flynn says, actually, Trump told me, or people connected to Trump told me that he emailed on January 1st, 2016, and that week he emailed Putin 6 or 7 times. So I think that you should subpoena his email records from then, because you're going to see exactly what he said to Putin. And Mueller would say, that's great. Okay, Mr. Trump, we're subpoenaing these email records. And Trump gets back in a couple days and goes, we deleted those. And Mueller says, cool, sounds reasonable. Carry on. Imagine the screaming, the outrage that you would have from all of the media, from all of the Democrats, from the establishment Republicans, from even me. I would be like, that's unbelievable. I can't believe that happened. He needs to be held accountable for this. What did those emails say? He needs to be held accountable. Him and his administration need to be held accountable for the crime of destroying that. And we need to get to the bottom of what these emails said to see if they were trying to cover up some larger crime. That is exactly what happened with the Hillary investigation and the FBI. They subpoenaed evidence from Hillary's team. Hillary's team, after they received the subpoena, destroyed the evidence. And what did the FBI do? Did they charge the actual individual that destroyed that evidence? No, they didn't charge him. They gave him immunity. Now, when you give out so much immunity, you would expect, wow, with so many people getting immunity, that must mean that they're cooperating and some big fish at the top's going down. Not one person charged with any crime in the Hillary investigation. So why are you giving out immunity? And the defense that people would give, they weren't really serious crimes. The same people who said that are the same people that are saying, I could prove the Mueller investigation isn't a witch hunt. Look at how many crimes they've charged already. They've charged people, the Russian trolls, for posting on Facebook. And they've charged Papadopoulos with lying. And they charged Flynn with lying. And they charged Cohen with lying. And that's just, so what a huge deal. That proves that, man, this Mueller investigation, it's really worthwhile. It's getting some fish on the hook. That proves that something's to it. Okay, well, the FBI investigation into Hillary, we knew that people were destroying subpoenaed evidence, that were lying to the FBI. Agents actually said in released text messages that we were able to see, FBI agents said they found it beyond credulity that Hillary Clinton said that she thought the C on documents was just alphabetical order and didn't understood it meant classified. You know what that means? The FBI thought there is no way she is not lying about that. That's what the FBI thought. Now, the FBI also said, including Peter Strzok, who was the one who investigated or interviewed Hillary, Mills, Abedin, Flynn, because apparently we needed some Trump hater who could smell Trump supporters. Apparently he was the only guy qualified to do all of these investigations. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the insurance policy that his text messages said he needed in case Trump won. I'm sure it had nothing to do with that. But regardless, even Strzok, he said after the Flynn investigation, him and the other FBI agents said, we don't think that Flynn lied. Yet Mueller charged him. But these investigative agents, not Strzok necessarily, but other FBI agents said, wow, we really think Hillary is lying with her investigation. No charges whatsoever. So now I have to listen to the same people that tell me how serious lying to the FBI is, how serious not filing as a foreign lobbyist is. I have to listen to them tell me that when, before the election in 2016, they were saying none of that stuff was a big deal. Because when it hurt their side, when they were afraid that would hurt their chances to win an election, or the queen that she was already crowned, that she was going to be president, well, then that was different. Those were just, who cares? It's just little stuff. There's no big deal. No big deal here. But when people connected to Trump, see, this proves it wasn't a witch hunt. It's a serious thing. And they also implicitly know by making those charges of lesser crimes that the chances of some cooperation in a bigger crime, if one was committed, being found, is substantially greater. They know that. They didn't want justice with Hillary. They didn't want to find a crime, just like the FBI didn't want. This is what I've been saying when people ask me, why do you vote for Trump? Because I'll tell them there's a lot of things about Trump I don't like. Why did you vote for him? The number one reason is because I believe at the establishment level, the Republicans and Democrats are the same. They're all in it for power. They don't care about their constituents. I don't mean every Republican congressman or senator or the person at your local board or every Democrat, the same thing, right? I'm not saying everyone. I'm talking at the highest levels. And they operate with the deep state, which is the intelligence agencies and the lobbyists that support them in the military-industrial complex. And they don't care. They don't have our interests at heart. And I thought that by Trump or Bernie being elected, it would force these people to out themselves. And that's exactly what's happened. If Trump hadn't been elected, we would have no idea of all this corruption that occurred by the FBI investigation into Hillary. We wouldn't have seen the media blatantly out themselves as just mouthpieces for the Democratic establishment parties. So, and it's not Trump was playing 4D chess to do that. It's just the mere fact of his existence, and he was perceived maybe as an outsider, forced the deep state and these establishment people to do this. I just don't get it. The same people, my first kind of political leanings was getting upset about the Iraq War. I used to go to all these punk against Bush, rock against Bush, all, how bad this war was. And all these people on the left, celebrities and, media personalities and people in academia I remember getting out of classes to go protest the Iraq War. And how we were lied to. The intelligence agencies lied to us, And now where are they? They're not only defending the corruption of the intelligence agencies, they're saying that for me to question it now is anti-American. And when we have definitive proof of part of these agencies, the FBI, purposely going in with this investigation into Hillary Clinton, doing everything they could to avoid charging anyone with a crime. Those people telling you that that's perfectly fine, but those same crimes, it's so important that they be charged under Trump people. I just don't know what to say. It's incredibly frustrating. I think that everyone who has any understanding of this, and again, let me just say this. The reason I'm so passionate about this is I really don't care about Trump or Hillary, right? Like, I get all these lock her up chants. Okay, if Hillary committed crime, she should be locked up, right? I feel the same about Trump, if the crime warrants that, obviously. But I don't really care about that, right? What I care, Hillary and Trump will eventually be gone. The intel community is there to stay. They, being corrupt, being kingmakers, intentionally going after people they feel will kowtow to them and bow to them and not challenge them when they supposedly break crimes, and doing everything, approaching it with the mindset of let's do everything we can to make sure that no one remotely connected to these politicians that like us get charged with any crime. And then, as Schumer told us, why would Trump criticize the intelligence agencies? They have 6 weeks from Sunday of getting back at you. And so to see those same intelligence agencies go after Trump and the people that criticize them with the exact opposite mentality of we need to bring them down by any means necessary. And if that means going after crimes that have nothing to do with our original mandate to look at, that's what we'll do. We'll charge everyone with every little crime we can. We'll encourage them to cooperate, even if, no matter what. We want them to bring down the people at the top. That's what they get for challenging us. If we have that system, what little impact your vote has, what little voice you have, because it seems like a lot of Congress doesn't represent constituents anyways, but that little bit of democracy we have, where your voice matters a little, it doesn't matter at all anymore. Because no one that ever makes a difference will ever be allowed to be in power. And there are people that are cheering that on that should know better. The media is a joke. If you call yourself a journalist, you're not covering this, you're a joke. You know. And you might be saying, but Rob's exaggerating, right? Do we actually have definitive proof? Yes. If you know, if you hear this story about Flynn and you're like, he cooperated because he was threatened to be charged with a crime and he cooperated to get no jail time. If you think that makes sense, which all of us do, every single person with any objective rationale understands, yep, that seems reasonable. That's how things like that would work. Then you know that when the FBI went after the Hillary team in the exact opposite way, saying, hey, we give you all immunity. Now, do you have anything you would like to say? You know that that's crap. You know that that's corrupt. And then when you see, well, who's leading all these intelligence agencies like James Comey? Well, we know Comey leaked to hurt Trump. He wanted Hillary to win. He hates Trump. We know that Clapper, who was at Director of National Intelligence, we know that he hated Trump. We know that Brennan, who was at the CIA, we know he hated Trump. Just a coincidence, I guess, that these people that the heads of these intel communities liked Hillary Clinton, we're just going to give everyone immunity there. We'll just try this different strategy, see if that works. We gave everyone immunity. Turns out they weren't able to cooperate in any successful way. No harm, no foul. Now this time, here's the guy we don't like. Let's charge him and his people with every little thing we can, including the same crimes we just gave immunity and let the other side off for. That's a double standard. That's corruption, and everyone knows it if they're honest. That's far greater a threat than anything Putin could ever do. Than anything any foreign power could do, than anything any sitting president could do. Because those are all temporary things. We could correct it. We could find that this president was corrupt and charge him with crimes. Who's going to do that investigating? The investigative agencies. But who watches the Watchmen? If they're corrupt, who charges them? Congress, they're the ones that have oversight. They say, can we see these documents? The FBI says, no. We're not going to comply with congressional subpoenas. We're not going to comply with congressional oversight requests. Sorry. Then what? That's it. There's nothing left to be done. Oh, by the way, if you're a congressman and if you chirp too loud, then maybe we'll investigate you. Maybe we'll find something out about you too. Is that the system? That's the democracy you want to live in? So, yeah, I get heated. Now, again, don't think I'm depressed or anything. I'm doing fine. I actually enjoy getting heated with things like this. But this is, I think, the biggest issue on any of these videos I've covered. I just can't believe, I'm sorry that my satire in my last video didn't go over as well, but I can't believe that more people aren't as outraged as me. I just can't believe it. So, anyways, even if you don't like me, if you think that this issue is something that's important, educate yourself. Look at what happened with the investigation into Hillary. Look at how, and I'm quoting, immunity was handed out like candy. See, ask yourself if that makes sense. And ask yourself then if that isn't a complete double. Even if you think that you hate Trump and you want Mueller to go after Trump as aggressively as possible, okay, that's fine. But all I'm saying is, shouldn't the standard be applied the same to all investigations? Why just to Trump's side? Why not to Hillary's side? Right? If you think it's, and that's all I'm asking for. If you say, yeah, I think Mueller should be going this aggressively after Trump, that's great. Just be consistent. That's all I'm asking for. Or if you think that the way the FBI went after Hillary that's the way it should be done, then be consistent. Say that's how Trump should have been gone after too. Everyone should have just been given immunity up front. But when you advocate for this double standard, you're advocating for the corruption of the intelligence agencies, and that's a huge deal. So, like I was saying, if you don't like me, educate yourself on this, look into it, and tell people about it. Like, let them understand, and let them understand how this has a direct impact in their life. Not that their day-to-day work routine or something's going to be changed, but their opinion doesn't matter. Even less than they already thought maybe it didn't matter. Because any outsider isn't welcome. It's not your elected officials that probably don't represent you anyways that have power. It's these unelected bureaucrats that are really calling this show. So if you like my videos, as always, please recommend them to other people. Like and subscribe. I'll link to that past video here at the end of this video. And the subscribe button's there also. There's this beautiful little picture of a more clean-shaven, I say that ironic, of a more trimmed, let's put it that way, version of me on the left. You click that, you can subscribe. You can click the alert button so you get alerts anytime I make a video. Remember, I'll be doing a live stream this Friday and every Friday at noon. So if you'd like to be part of that or have any topic suggestions, just hit me up and let me know. And have a good one.